So the amount I've learned this year is far too much to ever tell you everything, but one thing is the magic of flowers. So it's absolutely baking today and the sun is right overhead, so I apologise for the shade and the different light levels in this video. But I just wanted to talk to you about flowers and flower farming, because I've grown veggies before and it's amazing when you can grow a veggie, but I've never grown cut flowers in this large a setup. And I must say my setup is not large by industrial standards, it's very small. But it's wonderful. So to give you an idea of the size and scale of this test year flower farm, it starts here and it goes to there. So it really isn't big. But the amount of blooms I've just managed to cram into this amount of space has surprised me, because when you just look at the garden, when you just look at this, you think, oh, there's not a vast amount there. And then you start picking and it seems to be never ending. And that's one of the things I love. You come down, you think, oh, I haven't got very many blooms, and you start picking it by the 10, by the 20, and suddenly you've got buckets of flowers, bundles of bouquets, and still loads in the garden. Let's do this. Oh, look, you can see me. So it's hard to pick which the favourite flower of the year is so far, because every time a new bloom comes out, I'm obsessed. I'm now currently obsessed with my Gladioli and the seed dahlias. So this is a seed dahlia. There's nothing different from a seed dahlia to a normal dahlia. You buy them and grow them as seeds rather than tubers. I don't know why, but I didn't know you could even do that. And this year was the first year I did it. They're obviously, they take a while to flower. So it's September, it's the first week in September. I have no idea of the date these days. Every day is the same. So it's the first week of September and we're just getting the first bloom. So we've got this lovely pinky one. We've got this little delicate yellow one, and I mean the petals aren't all perfect, but often that's the case with the first few flowers I find with dahlias. And then we've got this sort of dusky pinky peachy one, again not perfect petals. And then down here we've got this little red one, and honestly I think they're wonderful. Now you can, with seed dahlias, you can lift them and keep them. So there's my first one here, and we've got this big row. So I'm not sure how many plants. I think there's around 30 or 40. So I am definitely going to lift them this year and try and protect them and see them through the summer. Through the winter. They're absolutely covered in blooms. And I'm definitely going to grow even more seed dahlias next year. Now, I don't know whether you can buy seeds for every single variety. So obviously when you go to the shops, there are some stunning varieties of dahlias and they come in tubers and you grow them on from tubers. This was just a mixed seed packet. So I don't know whether I can look up a certain variety of dahlia, for example, and get it as a seed, or I have to buy it as a dahlia. But what I'll do is when I overwinter these, I will label them all so I know what colours we've got. And I will buy some dahlia tubers next year. But they're just fantastic. Look, I grew it from seed. She is pretty. I'm just waiting for loads more to come out, and then these can start to go into bouquets. There have been some huge workhorses as well of the year, and they have been the sweet peas, which I cannot keep up with picking at the moment. As soon as I pick it, I think, oh, I've got no more blooms. Next day, I mean, I picked everything yesterday. Look, amazing. The cornflowers, which are they are starting to go over, but we've still got lots of little blooms. And the sweet pea, I'm going to move the camera, there we go. The cornflower and the sweet pea posies have just been stellar. They're only £2, so they're a rock bottom kind of price point for flowers. They do take me a while to make, but you know, I can make at least 10 in an hour. So that's picking 200 stems and 200 cornflower stems, and then each posy has 4 sweet pea stems in it as well. So that's still 20 quid an hour, which isn't that bad. And they're selling. That's the main thing, they're selling. And they're not only selling on the Honesty box, they're also selling in a local store now, and people are buying them. So these have been a real workhorse this year. The other thing is strawflowers have just been amazing. Now they are actually starting to go over now, because I've picked so many. But we've still got a few. These are kind of some of the last ones, and again, they've been in bouquets, but actually people have liked buying them just by the bunch. So I do 10 stems in a bunch for £5, and they've just been buying them because they're such a vivacious, fun flower type. Another flower that I've never grown before, and I've fallen in love with, are gladioli. I mean, look, that's beautiful. And then there's one that's just come out here. Look at this. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Now, if you remember earlier on in the year, we had a plague of rooks, and they were coming down and they were pulling anything out. They did me a huge favour with the glads, because I planted all my glads at exactly the same time. And they all started to grow, but they hadn't rooted in properly. And the rooks were coming down and they were pulling them all out. And that meant that the ones they pulled out, they actually stunted and they stopped growing. So what I actually ended up with, instead of them all flowering at once, the rooks basically successionally planted my glads. So I still have new glads coming out all the time. Now, the one thing I will say though is I haven't managed to sell glads. I haven't got a big enough variety of flowers at the moment to make some really nice bouquets. So I've been selling straight bunches and the posies. The straight bunches of glads have not sold. People do not want them. People love them, and I've given them away to friends and things, but people have not wanted to spend £5 on a bunch of glads. So what I am going to try, so I think the only way to put these beauties, because I'm going to keep growing them because they're gorgeous and I'm going to buy loads more, but I think the way to use them will be in bouquets as kind of 2 or 3 central spikes of flowers, and then the rest of the flowers around the outside. I personally think just a vase, just a nice clear glass vase with glad stems in is stunning, but people obviously don't want to buy that here. But we will persevere because, as I say, I absolutely love them. Another plant I've had are Snapdragons. Again, first year ever growing these. They haven't done as well as I would have liked. I wanted lots of long, tall spires, and the only one that gave me that was Potomac, which is the white variety. And actually, you can kind of see I'm getting some longer, they seem to have thicker stems and longer spires of flowers. The other varieties just haven't done that. You can see here, lots of colour, but short little thin weedy stems. However, I've started making posies of the Snapdragon. So again, cheap £2 posies, but instead of like the cornflowers are really, they're a stalwart of the garden, they're a hard worker, but they are worth hardly anything. So for each posy, 20 cornflower stems. For each Snapdragon posy, 7 stems and a few sweet peas for scent. And they've been selling really well as well. So actually they're more efficient. These short little Snapdragon stems are more efficient for me because I can pick far more and make more posies quicker because I'm only picking 7 stems per posy instead of 20. And people have been loving those. So the remainder of the season, when I'm picking these, the rest of these flowers, because I don't want anything to go to waste, and if I can sell it and make money, that's what I'm going to do. So these are going into posies now, and actually they're super sweet. Is there a bee in there? There is, look. And then on this side, we have our rows of stunted failures, which basically means I didn't get them out of the plug tray in time to put them into the ground, and then I didn't water them enough, and so they're all really stunted. So you can see, look at my beautiful sunflowers that are dwarfs. And they are not dwarf varieties, but that's how big they've grown. But again, I don't care, they're pretty. These are the zinnias. If you've been following, you'll know that I planted zinnias, I sowed zinnias about 300 times because the first lot dried out, the second lot got slugged, etc, etc, etc. They've done okay. I haven't got vast amounts of blooms, but again, there are some. So we've got these sweet little red ones, lots of pinks. There's a yellow one here. And there's a cream one, and there are more coming, and you know, I think I've probably got another 6 weeks before a frost hits, so there is a chance for more blooms and these things taking off. So we'll see when that happens. But again, test year, super excited that I have anything, and they're very pretty, and the pollinators love them, so I'm not going to complain. The sunflower bed, meanwhile, is rather weedy, although this is the first. Look at her. Look at her. Isn't she lovely? She should be 6 foot tall, and she's about 2 foot, but she's very pretty. Again, not going to complain how lovely she is. And then I think also that I picked, oh look, hello Bumble. Yay! I think I picked a couple of the wrong varieties because this seems to be a multi-stem variety. So this is one plant here with all these blooms on. So I think I picked a wrong variety and did a multi-stem. But again, they're pretty. I think they're nice, and just to have them, even if they don't make any money, it's a test year, it doesn't matter, does it? And then finally we have our little stunty row of Amaranth. Again, didn't water, didn't get in the ground soon enough, but they have some cute flowers. So I think this is Hot Biscuit, and I quite like it. I'm going to flip the camera so you can see it a bit better. Let's move around. So they've got these little biscuit coloured tops. They're not huge, the spires aren't great, but you can see there's a few spaces. I have been cutting them off, and I'll just cut them off at the stem and use them in bouquets. They've been working really well with zinnias, just to pop some structure. So I've got the Hot Biscuits type. I can't remember what this one's called. Again, these should be, 2 foot long. They're not, but they're quite sweet. And for little bouquets, they work quite well. So again, never grown it before. quite happy with the results. And then down here we have another deep red variety. It's pretty, isn't it? So again, next year I just must get them into the ground quicker and get a watering system on there. And you know, we don't have any running water here, so it's been a real effort to try and get these plants watered, especially when we have had no rain. So next year, hopefully we will be on the main system. So I'll be able to water this every single day with drip lines and overhead irrigation, and everything will be far better. But I'm pretty happy. Towards the end of the season, I am going to do a breakdown as well of the income from the market farm. So I will show you exactly what sold, what made me money, so you can kind of get an idea of our local climate and what people wanted. But as I say, as a rough thing, posies have done really well. They take longer to do. They're more effort for the cash, but people buy them. Bouquets haven't sold very well, but I think that's because people just don't know we're here. So we just have the farm stand. We don't have pre-orders. And then straight bunches of flowers. So straight bunches of zinnias, of Snapdragons and of strawflowers have also done quite well. So first year having a flower farm, I've loved it. Honestly, coming and picking and making up little posies has been an utter joy. Did everything go right? No, but some stuff did. Some stuff sold. And next year, this whole place is going to be way bigger, because I already have about 1,000 little seeds germinating for biennial and perennial plants. And then with all of these annuals again to be sown next year, it's very exciting.